Say something.
Hello everyone, we are doing a special gaming rig for a very special guy, Luka Dončić, the Slovenian NBA superstar. We are hoping that we will impress him with all of these that we have here.
Yep, so we have a Z790 Apex, 3900K, 4090, so we're not holding back on the PC hardware, but we also have a PS5 to go inside and a million EK parts that probably aren't going to fit.
Custom trays in the case so that we make it all fit in this massive Lian Li V3000 Plus.
Let's go.
Go, 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 go,
go. So, as with most builds, first off we're preparing all of the hardware. The motherboard gets its CPU block mounted. We used the contact frame. Also, the GPU gets completely torn down and prepared for the water block. We'll be using the white editions of the Strix block and the Velocity 2 for LGA 1700, of course. And in the background there, you can also see the first QuantumX distribution plates being assembled, tested, and there are many, many plugs being installed. At this moment, they're empty and they don't have any internal tubes, but you'll see as we progress with the build what happens with those. They're very interesting. And the GPU now has all of its thermal pads. We're preparing to put the block on. We'll be using a standard block and backplate. One, because we have it in silver from the white edition rather than an active backplate. And secondly, because we don't have any VRAM on the backside of this card. Now I'm back and I'm putting fans on radiators and figuring out which are going to be push, which are going to be pull, which ones we can mount in advance and where they will go in the case, along with stripping every single part out to get ready for our custom panels that we built for the case. We made a motherboard tray, a mid plate and a rear plate, which covers where you would normally just have fan mounts. And in order for these all to fit together nicely with the PlayStation, we moved the motherboard much closer to the back of the case just to get some extra space at the front. Consequently, we cut a little bit away to have better access to the I/O. From the underside, we had to remove the little plastic boxes which support the hard drive cages, and that was so we had enough space for the front radiator. And you can see now threading through wires for the lower part of the motherboard. Practically there's just enough space for the wires to pass between the remnants of the original motherboard tray and our new clean flat motherboard tray. So we had to put some wires in first, and with those done, we can install all the standoffs in the tray and start building up hardware from the front. Also now placing an S480 in the pedestal, along with an S140 in the front, which will run the loop for the PlayStation. From the top, we also mounted a Quantum Surface P480. Everything white edition so far. White loop FPT fans. And an extremely bright light there. You can see the rear panel from the case there where we mounted the distribution plate directly. So you get a view through from behind the case. You can also look through from the inside to the outside and see the custom engraving which we made on the distribution plate's lid. We begin to plan the loop. The motherboard and the PlayStation 5 block and the graphics card are all mounted inside at this point. We first started by installing the fittings on the outside of the distribution plates, and then we could build up the fittings on the inside. So as I mentioned earlier, these distribution plates, you effectively build your loop on the inside and the outside simultaneously. So we're using Torque micro fittings and EK loop metal hard tube. There's only enough space for 12mm fittings, so we're using Torque micro HDP just for a cleaner look, and also using double mounted torque micro 90s internally to make the tight bends. With those done, lined up, so we put them so the tubes correspond to the fittings that are on the outside of the distribution plate. Then we tighten them all down and put them in the build. The fittings for the rest of the build, you can see here, are Quantum Torque HDC 14 fittings. We replaced the coloring with a red anodized part and the top compression ring of the fitting with a blue anodized part to match the colorway of Luka's shoe. We'll have mostly blue accents in this white build with some very fine red details. Next up, we begin to manage the cables and begin tubing in the pedestal. Right here you see our colleague Sanel jump in and replace the SSD in the motherboard. A last minute thing, we had a 1 terabyte drive and we changed it to a 2 terabyte drive. We actually had to remove the terminal from the graphics card to do that. Here we have all the inside tubes done, so not just the tubes in the distro plates, but the plexi tubes in the build as well. So we can get ready to fill it up. PlayStation loop fills on its own with a standard cryofuel blue coolant, not solid but translucent blue. And for the PC loop, we decided to mix a light blue coolant. We weren't really sure how it was going to work. We used a tiny bit of Mystic Fog in clear coolant with blue dye to create a light white blue. So now both loops have been filled. Everything went very smoothly and both loops are properly bled and ready to go. The next thing is to test all of the hardware and then begin making the custom cables that are required in the color theme of the rest of the build. We also have some special graphics inbound for the side panels of the case and UV print for the mesh panels, so we'll see it all come together very soon. So here we are, just in time, ready to take the build out. What should have been an easy day yesterday, finishing the cables, turned into an extremely long day because we started it with rebuilding the entire loop, changing the O-rings in the distro plate, and then filling it all up again before starting the custom cables. But through working long into the night, we did finish everything. It's all together and it's beautiful, working, perfect. PS5's running, PC's running, all happy and ready to go. So
it's probably the ultimate gaming setup. It has a 4090, 3900 KS inside, 64 gigs of RAM, and of course the liquid cooled PS5, and also everything else is liquid cooled. And we did some custom branding on the bottom side so that it matches the theme of the event where we are taking it to. So I guess we should just grab it and pack it.
We've got to go.
Yeah, we're gonna go.
Oh no, 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 no! So we're back from the event. The PC is also back from the event, so we will be packing it up to send it to Luka, as well as doing a final check with slightly less tired eyes that we don't miss anything, that it's all running nicely, smoothly. It did run nicely at the event.
Yep, it was a really nice event. We really enjoyed it. We had an awesome setup team with a white desk, white gaming gear as well. We will have to pack this very carefully. I think we will order a custom wooden crate because this thing is heavy. Actually, we should weigh it big because there was a guy at the show when we were packing it up. We said it's like 60, 70 kilos and he was like, no, it's not. So I'm really interested in how heavy this is because if you take the water blocks only, I think it's like for how many? I mean, it's like 10.
Yeah, the PS5 block is heavy.
Yeah.
These distros are 3 kilos each.
So
all of the parts we made for the inside are 2mm steel plate.
yeah, so
It adds up.
we will measure it just to see how heavy it is, just to like, we are curious. But yeah, we will slowly pack it up and get it ready for shipping. Luka, enjoy gaming on this, and I hope you will be winning as much as you are also winning in basketball.